Jai Gurudev. Good evening, everyone. My name is Someshwar. I welcome all of you on behalf of part of an organization to Yog Vaashishtha evening session. नमस्ते, मैं सोमेश्वर आप सभी का आर्ट कपलिंग संस्था की तरफ से योग वाशिष्ठ के सायंकाल के सत्र में स्वागत करता हूँ। रोज की तरह आज के सत्र की भी शुरुआत हम लोग 3 बार ओमकार का उच्चारण करके करेंगे। गुरु के सानिध्य में इस सत्र को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। We'll begin our session by chanting Om 3 times and we'll continue our session with in the presence of the Master within us. Today we are on 147th session. आज हम लोग 147वें सत्र में यहाँ पे पहुंच चुके। Our today's topic, we are going through this Avidya Akhyan, and then that Avidya Akhyan continues the Shavopakhyan, and then that Shavopakhyan translates into the Vyad and Muni. So there are this new character that will get introduced today, and somewhat that dialogue between them continues to happen. So that will continue for 3 to 4 chapter, 5 chapter. But such a immense now note that knowledge is unfolding and it's going taking a new heights of that. ज्ञान की पराकाष्ठा होते हैं ऐसे insight यहाँ पे वशिष्ठ मुनि इस अलग अलग स्टोरीज से जो भास मुनि व्याद अविद्याख्यान इससे जो मिल रहा है ना, this is really worth to go through and it's worth knowing these things in our life. Was that because your own experience, then उसका फिर कहना है क्या? So amazing. So let us see what is it there for us to unfold this. We'll look into it. But for now, let's all sit comfortably. आराम से बैठ जाए. And let us bring back our attention to our breath. Observe the flow of the breath. Breathe in. And let go. Take a deep breath in. And exhale completely. Breathe in for Onkar chanting. Let us invoke the divinity within. पुनः पुनः सच्चिदानंद रूपोऽहम् शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहम्। Let us express our gratitude towards the Master. गुरु वंदना कर ले। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री श्री गुरवे नमः। Let us pray to the divinity. श्री गुरु शक्ति से आह्वान कर ले। Whatever the words that come out of this mouth, whatever the actions that are happening, whatever the thoughts that hover onto our mind, and the power of discrimination arise in our intellect. The impressions that might be getting created in our memory, and if still there is an iota of that I, let all that be inspired by the Master. Pray like this. If you already experienced that all that bondage is just around your chitta, what you are is really free from all this thing which we consider as a bondage. In that case, let this life live like a liberated soul, a self-realized soul. Feeling the presence of the Master within and outside. Let that divinity only inspire us to do what we are doing. Pray like this. Feeling the presence of the Master within and outside, slowly and gradually. You may open your eyes. धीरे धीरे अपनी प्यारी सी आंखें खोल सकते हैं। Jai Gurudev, let's continue with our today's session. Today we continue with the Shavopakhyan, the story of that Shava which started actually yesterday. So if you have seen this yesterday's story, that how this Vipshchit Raja comes into the form of deer, and how that deer goes and takes the form of the Bhas, and then the Bhas is explaining what is it that so many miraculous experiences that he saw, and one of them was he saw that there is this very, very big by kaya, by sharira, by body, it was a very big but just a body without having any prana into it. That Shava is soft falling on the entire earth. And then after that, when all the siddhas and those people, gods, they worship Kalratri, Kali, she comes and then she finishes it off, and then because of that, all that blood that flows throughout the spread on the earth, and all the made that uh, body parts and all that is spread on the entire earth. Because of that, it's called Med. Because of that, this Dhara, this Prithvi, this earth also is known by Medini. It's known by Medini. So now when this thing continues, that point of time in this court of this Dasharatha, when Bhas was telling this about this, that's very big Shava, that which falls from the Akasha, from the space on the earth. And because of that, this entire Prithvi, it's like a big meteorite that falls on it. It's like that thing happens. And then how does Mahakali comes into picture, and then she finishes him off, and then the routine of this earth then again follows, that Srishti, Bhakti and all that follows. So that point of time, because of the blessings of the fire, that Agni Deva, I saw this on my own. I could see this. So after looking at such a miraculous experience, obviously there will be curiosity in everybody's mind. What is it that Shava? Who that Shava is? Why it's happened like this? What was it? And that is what exactly when that question came to my mind also. And that is where I asked, this Bhasa is telling this story. So they are all sitting in the court where Rama is there, Vashishtha Muni is there, Vishwamitra is there, Dasharatha, everybody is all there. And Bhas, that Vipshchit, who has come into who has become the Bhas, now he is telling that story now. So he asked to the Agni, the fire. He says that, hey Agneshwara, this whatever that you do, the whoso comes in contact you make them pure. Like that in this Mahapralayakari Shav, that Shav which was that body which was so it actually brought that pralaya on the earth. So that Mahapralayakari Shav, that was that. From where did it actually came? How did it actually arrive there? How did it actually got that? How did that particular thing came into that form? No, I am really curious to know that. Kindly tell me. And then that point of time, the Agni Deva, that Agni is telling that story of that Chava. How does that came into existence? What has happened to that? And that story of that Hakigat, that was extremely wonderful. No, it was very Ashtarikarak. That is what I am telling you now. You listen to it. So now Agni Deva is telling the story of that Shava to the Bhasa, and Bhasa is explaining that this is what Agni Deva told me. But while telling this story, there's such an amazing knowledge that comes out of this. Let us go through that. What is it there for us? So that is where he says that because of this is Brahmadeva is there, his Kalpana comes into picture, his Sankalpa comes into picture, and in this Jagata, all these different Upadhi, all these different forms and names that comes into picture. Like that only in this Srishti, in this world, there was this person, or there was this Asura, that Jati, that was very big animal was there, and because of that Asura Swabhava, he was very big and was very balishta. The Vishlegas, he had all that ahankara, that ego sense in him, and because of that, wherever he used to go, he used to not listen to anybody, do whatever he wants to do in his life. Like that, he was spending life. Once upon a time, he happened to go one of the ashrama where all the rishi munis, they were all spending their life in doing all the austerity and all the doing tapasya, all that thing was going on. And when he goes there, all they were doing everything very happily. But when he goes there, he just throws out everything, and he just destroys that ashrama. Without any reason also. There was no reason that there is something that happened. Because of that, he does that. Like that, he does that because of that Muni, that who was staying in that ashram, that gave him the curse, that like this you have done this, like that only your this sharira, this will also, this that also will be become like that, and your deha, your body will, it will be destroyed, and it will become atik shudra chilat. There is one very insect whose life is just 2 days life, that insect you will go and become. So like that he curses him. So the moment he curses him like that, the moment like that, just like one put that any sort of wood into the fire, how it will just get burnt, like that only because of that curse of that muni, that thing, that particular deha, that particular asura, he just completely burned, turned into ashes. So like that, because of this achanak, this is something which happened just like that kind of agati. That thing, he, despite of his body got diminished, his chitta and that chaitanya, that nirakar, it became nirakar, niradhar. No, that chitta was not having any support. It was not, nobody was holding that chitta. And like that, it got into that niradhar akasha, and it went into deep sleep kind of state. No? So that is where that Indriya Shakti and all this Sukshma Deha, etc., that was completely released from that body, and it was in the form of that Chitta. So then after that, once upon a time, again it got into that thing, because of that curse, he has to go and experience that yoni, that species. So his Chit Bhavana comes into picture, and then because of that Jiva Bhava comes into picture. Again he takes the form of that Jiva Bhava. Again the 5 elements comes into picture. Panchatanmatra comes into picture. That Chidanu comes into picture. And like that, in just like when the farm is there, that farm, in that some sprouts are those vijas, the seeds are being sowed, and how they take sprout, like that only he comes into picture, and he takes the form of that, whatever that curse is there, based on that, he takes the form of that small insect. And in that insect only he comes. So that at that point of time, that asura bhav, that completely is diminished now there. And in that mashak bhav, that chilt avaya, so he is just doing that bhavna, and then he becomes, he take the things. So this kind of thing is called as swadeja. They are called swadeja prani. So like that, their life is just of 1 or 2 days, like that. So like that, he comes into there, and then this. So that is where the Rama asked the question. So I have always heard that the birth is always, most of the birth we take as a normal from the thing, or there are those different 4 types of birth that is also explained. One is like the one which are mammals, which comes through the yoni. Then there is another type of birth that comes through the andaj, comes from the egg. The 3rd type of birth that comes from the seed, and then the 4th type of birth that comes from the space, just like that. So like that only that thing comes into existence. So this is where the Rama asked the question, that most of the pranis, most of the animals that I see, they are yoni janya, means they come out of the yoni. So like that, is there any other type of birth that is possible? Because when we see the Swapna Avastha and the Jagrata Avastha, in that Avastha, when someone comes into the Swapna Deha, in that Janma, that is where the Yoni is not there, something which is created in your dream. Do they born out of the Yoni? No, they just created in your Kalpana, in your image. So like that. And that is because of this, I am asking this question. Kindly explain to me. So that is where 2 types of births which are explained here. So here says Rama, just like from the Brahma Deva till the smallest grass that comes into this life, it is born of the Yoni Janma. Now Yoni Janma, it's not related to the Yoni of a human being. It is basically said the same type of that thing. For example, the seed of any type of seed will produce the same type of vriksha. So similar kind of species will keep on producing the similar type of thing. So that is what is been said here, that this is what happens, and this janma, that birth that takes place here, is of the same type. Usually it is of the same type. That is what happens here. So that is what is called as one type. The one type of thing is translated into the same type of thing. But it's the other type of birth is also there, where that just like that vasana is there, because of that vasana, because of that chitta vasana is there, that bhranti janma yonis that takes place, that jagat bhranti, because of that it comes into picture. But there is also another type of birth that happens. It's because of, which is not through the Joni Janma. It is just happens sometimes the Siddhas, no? Janmata, those who are Siddhas, no? That has come from the Ayoni Sambhava. For example, the Kapil, Sanak, Sanandan. So there are few, they are not born as such, no, from the Yoni. So they just come, there are few rishis like this who has come because of this type of birth that is being explained. So that is a second type of Janma. This is like a Brahmamay Janma. No? That is how it takes place. There are two type of births that are explained here. So it says Rama, like this, in this Jagat Sthiti, in this thing, if you see it from the perspective of that Jagat Bhranti, this Yoni Janma is what Utpam. So whatever you see that, whether the grass is there, all the things that you see, like that chillet, that insect that which has taken that form, he just keep on traveling, going here and there, or into the grasses, and on the bank of the river he is going there, and like that when he passes one day like this. So the second day arise, and that point of when we are just relaxing over there, that is where that deer comes into picture, and then that deer's leg appears to him just like the big mountain, and then he just puts his leg on him, and that is how his body is completely crushed over there, and he completely goes. But at the last moment, what is it that he saw? It was the deer that he saw. Because of that only, when that body is lost, he is that Chitta Akash, the one last summit, that last thing that he saw is of a deer. He goes and takes the form of the deer. Now the same thing happens with the deer also. When the deer keeps traveling here and there, that is where he saw that there is this Vyad comes into picture, and because of his bow and arrow, that arrow hits to this deer, and that is where even the deer loses his life, right? But what was the last impression that he see? He sees that Vyad. No? He's continuously just looking at that Vyad only, so automatically he takes the form of the Vyad, that hunter. Hunter is called as the Vyad here. So he becomes the hunter. So like that, this is the thing, that how does that goes through goes through this multiple lives of this Janmantara, is what he said, that transitions in the birth that happens. So like that, this Vyadha, that hunter, happens to enter into the one of the ashrama, and that is where he meets with some of the munis and rishis over there who are staying over there. And now he's this Asuri Buddhi, that Asuri Buddhi which he was carrying was completely diminished now, and because of that he stayed there for a longer time, and even got this Buddhi of staying with this Sadhu Sangati. So because of that satsang that he got into picture, so he says that Rama, because of this, his Deha and his mind really got that Parama Shanti, he experienced that. So that point of time, then he really requested to those munis who were staying there. He said that things that Muni, obviously there's sadhus, they will always pass on the knowledge. So he said, why is it that you are doing like this? No, what is it that you'll get out of it? Why you are experiencing this dirgam, this sorrow in your life? You keep on wandering here and there, and then you kill those animals, and that is how you live it on that. So that is where the this Vyad asked the question that this is how we are, that is how we live our life, this is what we do, like that we continue to do like that. So this is where the sadhu, that Muni, he explains to him that like this, if you really keep on doing like this, you instead of that, you might as well do some other business. There are so many things are possible. See, look at, there are so many people, look at us, we are also alive here, but for us, we do not get into this type of business. No, like this hinsa and all this thing, that's not required. You can go and choose some daily routine which is of a non-violence, and you can get into that, because if you do not do it, this again you have to continue to experience this dukkha like this, no? Because that is how it is. So like this, he continues to give him answers to his questions, and then he says that you have to really come out of this. Because that is what will really take you to this thing. And then he listens to him by listening to the Upadesha, this guidance of that Muni. He leaves his bow and arrow behind, and after that he just started living a life of a Muni. No? So that whatever is being offered to him, he used to eat that. Whatever the sadhana, seva, satsang that is supposed to be done, he used to do that. He used to listen to the Shastra Shavanas, all the scriptures that he used to listen, and whatever that Rahasya Jnana. Now that his focus was on that now to get into the knowledge. So like that, his buddhi and his all the intellect and his, all these things, that marma, that insights, wanting to know that, and then really become powerful. That so that he can understand that. So that curiosity was still there. So he continued to ask questions to that Muni. So he said that there's Rama, this Shatru, Damana Rama, he always calls, Vashishtha always calls Rama with some different names. So he says that like this, once upon a time, he asked this Muni Sreshta the question related to the Jagruta Adi Avastha and his Anubhava, his experience of that thing. He expressed his Jigyasurati, his curiosity there. Now this is where that beautiful knowledge comes into picture. That have anyone experienced the dream? Obviously, we all see the dream, but how does the dream is actually seen? From the perspective of medical science, we say that okay, your body is resting, but your brain becomes active, and then the brain starts imagining something. Medical explanation up. But how have anyone really experienced the dream? That how does that swapna avastha, or that how anyone have experienced that Jagruta Avastha of something else? So this is very, very curious thing to know. How does or for that matter, the sleep is still an rahasya, miracle for the medical science. Does anyone know what sleep is? Is there anyone that can go and see the sleep is? But here, look at the level of depth of knowledge. This Muni is passing it on to this Vyadha, who is also kind of become a kind of Muni. So let's for understanding that Vyadha, that hunter, and there is one Muni. That Muni is passing on this because he has experienced this knowledge. He has skin. And how does one can experience this knowledge? So for that, one has to go through someone else's body, someone else's chitta, someone else at a level of very sukshma level of that, where one does sees this swapna, or where does one experience this sleep, or where does one experience this Jagruta Avastha. One has to go there and see, otherwise how it is possible. So this is exactly what that Muni tells him, that this is where he asks this, that hunter asks that, hey Bhagwan, how is this things? So how is this? How does these animals they experience the swapna avastha? Now he's asking, how does all the animals, or how does anybody experience this swapna avastha and jagrata avastha? No, if you see it from the perspective from the outside, how does it appear? How does it? If I want to see that, how does it see? If I take an example of a movie, how does that appear? That's such a wonderful question that he asked, right? Then he says that in this prapancha, in the bahya sthiti, if you see in this prapancha, how does that swapna, how does that dream comes into picture? How does one see that dream that comes into picture? If you go inside the animal, antargat swapna, what is it that bahya swapna and that antargat, internal swapna, internal dream? How does that, and why does one sees that dream? No? Then in this prapancha, if that is only just a dream, in that thing, how does that inside and outside things appear? All these questions are coming into my mind. So kindly, you please bless me and tell me about this. All these are what I'm thinking. These all questions are pouring onto my mind. No, such an amazing insights. Look at this insight. No, not that you'll get this knowledge everywhere. Very, very deep knowledge, very, very insights. So that is where that Muni addresses him that, hey Sadhu. He also addressed him that hunter, because he also walking on the path of that. So he also say, hey Sadhu. No, that is the thing. If you see that Viveka was not completely dread, because I was not yet knowing that. So that is where this these different shankas, these different doubts which are coming into mind. No, because of this this tarka vitarka, all these things are utpanna. I think that is where it is not really possible to explain these things into this form. So that is where it says, but still, just like the clouds that comes into the akasha, like that only in this mind, all these thoughts that just hover onto and then they go. So if you really want to see the questions, the answers for such questions, that point of time you really need to be very firm into that nirnaya, into that thing, and then you have to get inside the antaranga, inside the consciousness of other person, and that is where you become an ultimate observer, and becoming that Sakshi Bhava, you can experience it like this. I thought that Muni is saying that because see, I was not able to see it myself. So I thought it like, let me, I will be able to probably see this when I become like that and I enter into somebody else's antakarana inside. And then I'll be able to witness this, just like a Sakshi Bhava. And then to do that, then what is that I have to do? I have to learn the siddhis. I have to attain and siddhi. So that is where I put an effort. I started going through the Yoga Shastras, and then I started doing that Sayyama, that Dharana of Chitta, Ekagrata, concentrating on that. I made that thing as Dhrud, that Dhrud Nishchaya, no? And firm belief into that. And then I started studying. So because of that thing, I attained the siddhi of Parakaya Pravesh. Parakaya Pravesh means getting yourself into someone else's chitta, someone else's body. That is called as Parakaya Pravesh. So like this, I have learned that and I have attained that siddhi. So then how did I attain this siddhi? That is also been explained over here. So see, what is it happens? Let us understand this. This is something which is very curious. So what actually happens that you have this body, this sharir is there. So inside this body there is Chaitanya. That Chaitanya is also there. Where that Chaitanya is, we don't know where it is located. Cannot find out it is here and it is not there. And there is also Chittakasha. If you see that Chittakasha, inside the Chittakasha, this body is there. So Chitta is there everywhere. Like that only we can consider. Now let us look at these things. That prana is there inside, right? The prana is flowing inside and outside, inside and outside. So if one has to get out of this body, then their prana and then their chitta has to come together and they have to travel, leaving behind this body here, right? That is what is supposed to happen. So that is what he does, that I did this practice. Now the concept of this kumbhak and rechak also it comes into picture. So let's understand. What is it that apan vayu goes inside and then you hold, it is antar kumbhak, and then that prana vayu goes outside and then you hold your breath outside, that is called as bahya kumbhak. So now the prana goes inside apan, prana goes outside prana vayu. This we have seen earlier also. Now if one has to get out of his body and then travel, what is it they have to do? When the prana goes outside and the apana vayu begins, in between that, one has to get hold of chitta and prana together, and that jiva bhava have to now do not come back in the form of apana vayu, but leave that body and travel. Are you getting it? So then this body will remain as it is here and your prana is traveling now. But is it happening as a natural death? It's not happening as a natural death. You have decided to leave your body as your own will and as your own wish. That is what happens. That inside, and to do this, what is it that you have to do? That bahya kumbhak, you have to practice that for a longer time. So that is what that Muni does, that whenever that rechak is going, that is when he's leaving that thing outside. No, something which goes inside is called as pura, something which goes outside is called as rechak. And when that rechak, at the time of rechak, at the time of exhalation, that breath is going outside, that is where the bahya kumbhak happens. And then I practiced of making it more and prolonged. So then once I have practiced that for a time, when my Chaitya Atma, that Jivatma, that thing was there, that Jivatma used that Samashti Chaitanya, that thing in that way will also with my prana outside in that particular space. I practiced like this. And upon a time when that thing was there, then once upon a time entire chitta with using hridaya, that upadhi bhut prana bhuta and chitta using the rechak, that I have brought them out of my body, and then it was all there. And using that thing, just like the, for example, the fragrance which leaves that flower behind, and then fragrance is traveling like that. Now my jiva now started traveling with the chitta. That jiva was I took it out of my area. Such an explanation, yeah. Come on, where you'll get this knowledge? No? Even the medical science is not yet able to understand this. So that prana, that chitta has comes out of my body, and then that is how there is another shishya which is there. I wanted it into his body, and then experience this Dritavastha, Swapnavastha, etc. All which I have asked. And that point of view, I was not having that vivek and all that to experience it on my own. So I decided to experience it on someone else's body. So that is where that shishya was there, and along with his apana vayu. Now my chitta and my prana, along with his apana vayu, I entered through that shwasa, that inhalation. Inhalation entered into his body, into this body, and then my chitta, my prana, and my jiva has become one with his jiva, and it entered into that. So that is where I went into his heart, and in this, just like that, mongoose is there, no, that one type of thing which attacks on the snake, and how does it enters into his home, and how it pulls him, no, all that, and he belts it. So like that, I entered into his sharira. That is what is being explained here. So like that, it continues, and in that thing, this is where he explains that once I went inside his hridaya, inside his heart, this I started like an apana. I started traveling through along this, and that is where it is being said that what does he saw. So today's medical science is very advanced. We know what is how exactly the body structure, the skeleton, and all the different types of things. But Vashishtha Muni have is that's the sadhu, that one who is able to do the parakaya wish. He is saying this is what I saw that point of time. Look at the knowledge, something which the surgeon, the medical science student, they are the one who doctors, they know what goes on inside the body. For the normal person, we don't know. He was experiencing that through the chitta by entering into someone else's body, and that is what the entire your skeleton structure, all the things, all your nadis, all your things, lungs, and all this that is been explained here. There is no need to go into detail of that. Something which is known to us, as we have studied it as a science student, biology. We have studied this, so that is where sees that this things continues, and in this the flow of the blood through all this annasa, all this different types of rasa which I saw. Then I saw the movement of the prana that is flowing through in his body, and that is where I entered into this Jatalagni. That is where I saw how the entire fire of your hunger is happening there. I saw that, and then after that I entered into his hridaya. That there is something called as Teja Dhatu. So I become and stayed there as the Teja Dhatu. So that is where. So we have always heard about it, that there is something called as the Jiva Bhava. This Jiva Bhava is there, but nobody explained us what is the Jiva Bhava is. So is this say that it is that Tejo Dhatu, that thing, that Teja Sattva, that is the Sar, that is the essence of that is there, which was there, and inside that, but one has to go through very intricate things to reach to that thing. Basically, one has to transcend this body kind of thing. That is where side something which is the Maulyavan jewelry and all that, how it will be kept inside the inside the home, we'll hide it somewhere and it will be kept. Um, like that only, this is there. So I went into that kind of situation. I entered that integrate things. I entered into that depth of that thing. That is where this dharan, this is where the moola thing, that is where that tejo thing that was appearing like an this complete transparent thing. It was completely pure, it was completely transparent, and like that the all the brahmanda, all the tribuna was appearing inside that. So basically something which is trying to explain the jiva, that chaitanya thing. How does one explain that? There is no way to explain, so something is explained that I saw the all the tribhuvanas there. So like that, it looking like a jyoti swarup type of the all the Trilokya. Like that, it was prakashman, it was illuminated. That jiva was there, that tej was there into that jiva, and in that jiva rupa, that paramatma, that thing, ultimate thing, that also was there. Because of that, is called as tejasara. Is the essence of everything is called as Tejasara. So that is what I saw. So like that, just like the Atma and then the Jiva that consolidates together, it comes into this form. This Adharabhut Chaitanya is called as something called as Oj. That's called vitality. It's called Oj. They say that it's that aura, it's that Oj. That is what is being said. As I went and I just without his knowing, I entered into that space of his being. And then once one goes into that that vitality, then whatever is happening with you is all known to you. So like this, in that sthiti, in that thing, I saw that I entered into that after crossing over through the Manomay Kosha, after crossing through the Vijnanamay Kosha, I entered into that blissful Anandamay Kosha. It was like a full moon. That Chandra Prabha, that Shudrata, it was just like a meg, just like the clouds. It was just like a butter. It's like that Madhu, Mrudur. It's just some adjectives which are there attached that. So it's just like that bubble in the milk. It was just like that. And its swabhava was sneha, prema, ananda. Causing that contentment, that peace of mind. It's the peace, that ananda, that joy. That love, that was his sneha, that was his swabha, that was his nature. So like that, once I entered into that, and I have seen all the nadi chakras and all the energy centers, etc., etc., and then like that into that oja, that thing, this is where I settled. So that is where I was able to know what is happening with him. When he is dreaming, what happens? When he is going into the deep sleep, what happens? When he gets into the Jagrata Avastha, what happens? Now I started seeing all that. No? So now when he just like a dream, in that thing, I started remain in that Akhandit Swapna. Now he has become into that is like a chitta is there, no? So that is a dream is there. So like that I started seeing all the Vishwa, that which he is seeing now. That Shishya is seeing now. So he says that I saw the sun, I saw the moon, I saw the mountains, the oceans, all the rivers, etc. Whatever this Srishti, in this Srishti, whatever we see that inside that Antaryami, by becoming his own Antarmana, his own Tejas, that thing, I started looking at him. So just like the dream, I started seeing that as a Jagruta Avastha, into that awareness. I was fully aware. I never slept. I never dreamt. He was going through all the experiences I was watching. So he expresses, I experienced this like this. So, but for me, I was not. So like this, hey Dada, like this, I have seen that Pragyatma, that Jivatma, that Chidadhatu's Aishwarya. He said that I have experienced that thing. Some people always say that there is this Atma, always say that there is a Jivatma, there is this Jyoti Swarupatma. I see it, I experience that. Through seen means not through her physical eyes. He wasn't having physical eyes. He just said that I experienced this, and that is where that even though we say that this is a different is Jagrut Avastha and the Swapna Avastha dream is different, but ultimately both are one Rupa only, Ekarupta. It's only one thing. That is what I have seen, that Ishvara Akasha Rupa, just like that Akasha Rupa takes the form of the gut, the pot, but ultimately it's not different. It's the same Akasha within and outside. It is same thing as a Jagruta Avastha and Swapna Avastha that appears, and that is what I have really experienced. I have gone inside it and I have experienced that thing. So how was that? He explained that this same Chida, that same Chaitanya, that same consciousness that gets into this, and that is where it, without leaving its Akashatva being, without leaving its Chidakasha, he sees this Jagadarupa. That's outer world. That is that if you see it from the perspective of Lok Sarva Loka, it appears to as a Swapna when he sees that. And then that is what I understood, what this Swapna is. Swapna is nothing but also, the dream is also, it's an expansion of this Chaitanya. That is it. So when this Chida Dhatu Rupa, it expresses into the form of Akash Rupa, into the space, then that point of time, some of the portion of that appears like a Jagruta Avastha, and some of the portion of that appears like a Swapna Avastha. Ultimately, it's just the same thing, but it just appears as two different things. So if you see it, that in reality, this dream which is there and this Jagruta Avastha which is there, actually they are not two different avasthas at all. It's the same Akash Tattva, it's the same Chidakasha, it's the same Tattva, that Chittakasha is experiencing or expressing itself into two different avasthas. Because if you see it from the perspective of Jagruta Avastha, that Swapna which is there as a dream, and in that dream, that from that Apeksha, this Jagruta Avastha is there as a awareness, that Jagruta Avastha. And if you see it from the perspective of Jagruta Avastha, this Swapna, from the perspective of the Swapna, this appears like an Swapna only. So in the Jagruta Avastha, that truth which appears as a Jagruta is just a Bhasma, no? It's just imaginated thing that appears. So it just, we experience that as a Jagruta Avastha. But in reality, both, neither the Jagruta Avastha nor the Swapna Avastha that exists, it is just the thing. And then he explained even the death also is not different than this. Even the Maran, this death is also not different than this, because see, if you see it from the perspective of Jagruta and Swapna Avastha, this Chaitanya Purusha, that Chaitanya, that thing is different than that. In the and then it gets into the so many different Lakshavadi, different bodies. And even if that body dies, there is nothing that happens to that Atma. It remains intact. Like that, one does and goes through this Atma that has Dehan, this Sharir Grana, the Sharir Tag is not the death. So that is not the real death here. That is just the body which is getting behind, but yet that Nitya, that the one which is beyond the birth and life, that thing which is there, that Vinasha, that thing, Utpatti and Vinasha, that is also just a Mithya, just an illusive nature of that. That is what is coming to Vastuta. In reality, this Chaitana, this Akasha, that itself has expanded itself into the form of this Deha. And that is because of that, this Murta, that idol, that Sthula, Sharira that happens, that comes into picture, or the Amurtata, that is where the Amurtata is the real Swabhava of that Nitya Uditatma, that thing comes into picture, that Chida, Namak Parmanu, that is the Jagat Majja. That is the, if you say that the human body, that spinal cord is very important. No, that spine is extremely, that Majja. So like that, this Akash Tata, that Chida Rupa is the Majja, it's a spinal cord of this entire universe. That is what has been said. Like this is said in the Shastras. So like this, if you see it from that perspective, that Ghanasara Phala, that finger, it forms into the form of Sthula Sharira. That is what is there. So he says that into this Chida Kosha, into this Uddara, that Anubhav Samvedna, that awareness of this Asankhya Jagad Bhranti, this Yanam such Brahmanda, such universes, that's experiences, and like that, it's all still an illusion. And then when this Jagata Bhava, that karma, that upashama of that it's dissolution of that happens, then what remains is that Vikalparahit, that Adharabhut Hridaya, in that heart of that Chidakasha, what remains is that just pure Chaitanya. And that Chaitanya is what is looking at. It's all this drishya, all this scenery is what, and that is what we say, even in our case, we say that is the jiva. It is what is looking at all this rupa, that outward scenery in the form of that thing. That is the vayun, that is the outward going tendency. That is what we consider as Jagrut Avastha. That is what we say as Jagrut Avastha. But it is just like that sun which is there, and that pratibimba of that sun which is there, even here at the Bhuloka, even here on the earth, we experience that. That experience of that Surya, that sun comes into the picture. Like that, only this Jiva, that experience this Jagat Rupa into the outside and inside also. It's the same Chidatmak Jiva which says that I see inside and outside the Swapna or the Jagrata Avastha. Yatha, in the reality, this is just Sarva Vasana Shunya, something which is beyond the cravings, beyond the things, that Dvaita Brahma Shunya, Bhaya Rahit, something which is beyond any type of duality, that thing which cannot be burned by fire, which cannot be killed by cut by shastras, etc. Like that Jiva Bhava that is there. So like that, same that Jiva Bhava, just like that small kid which imagines this in just imagination, that Bhagulva, something which is ghost and all that. Like that only this Jiva Bhava gets into this is your, this is mine, etc. All these kalpana imaginations, and gets into, caught up into the Kama Krodha, Lobha Madha Mohotsara, and he gets into the fear. This is what I experienced, that Chidakasha, that Chida, that thing inside that Shishya, that Jiva Bhava. Then he also explained that in the same city, I experienced the sleep also, something called as Sushupti Avastha. How was that? So he says that, hey Vyadha, like this Swapna Avastha, this dream and this awareness Avastha, that thing, while I was thinking in the Tattvata, from the looking at the perspective of that, and I was doing contemplating on that point of time, even I got to know that let us look at the Sushupti Avastha also. What is it that this vichara that came to, and now to experience that, I was ready. Now, because I never slept. It was like that Shishya, that disciple was sleeping, dreaming, and all the, he was going through all this modulation. I was just observing as a Sakshi Bhava, ultimate observer. So like this, I saw that into this Drishya Srishti, that what I was doing, I was there, like silent, Dirghakala, for longer period. I just remained quiet. Into the Nischint Avastha, I just remained quiet. And then my entire Chitta, my entire mind, that Chitta was completely, it did not have any Sankalpa or Vikalpa. It just came into complete, there was no Vikshepa. That Avastha that I experienced, and that Avastha was nothing but the Sushupti Avastha. So it was completely that when we sleep, we go into Sushupti, that is where your Chitta is not active. It's not there. It has just gone somewhere. It has collapsed itself. And that is the thing is called as Sushupti Avastha. So that is what is really explained here. So into that Sushupti Avastha, that Chiddas Abhav is not there. It is there, yet it is not going into any Vishaya, not getting into Aham Vishishta. No, that kind of awareness is not there. That Chitta getting into outward thing, that does not exist. It is just there. But what, and even in that Sushupti Avastha also, that Chaitanya, that Satta Saman Jani, that Chaitanya, that Chetna, that Vishesha Jnana, that is there. That will always be. So it is the Savikalpa Gyan, that is not there, but the Nirvikalpa, that Jnana, that Samanya Jnana, that is always there. So even that Chaitanya is there, all your other things are, even though that Chitta is completely sleeping, yet your all the body, everything is functioning, right? So all your Chaitanya is still there, that is always there. So like this, it is both the Avastha, this Jada or Ajada. This Vikalpa Rahit, that Avastha is getting into that complete Vishranti, completely peaceful state of mind, is that Sankalpa, and then that is what is called as Nidra. You see that this is nothing but the Nidra. This is really the Sun, and this is what is the Sushupti Avastha. So when this Nidra Avastha, when this sleep is, that even in the when you are not sleeping, then that point of time, if you really are able to make yourself calm and quiet into this, not thinking about anything, if you are able to come any Vikshepa Swarupastha, just able to be with your Eka Swarupa, with that avastha, into that God Rupa, that is what is being said as the complete Nidra avastha. No? So like that. So when I go on into this, and then if you see that when does that Nidra avastha, little bit it is relaxed, that is the point of it comes into the Swapna avastha. And then after looking at these three avastha, then I also started searching for the Turiya avastha. How does the Turiya avastha? So if one does got into that Parama Ekagrata, that full concentration using the Shuddha Buddhi, if you go inside wanting to experience that Turiya avastha, that Nishchaya I made, and then I went into that Samyak, that Shuddha, that pure, that is something Nirvishya, something which is all the outgoing tendencies, that routines of these five senses was not there. Kevala Bodh, just the pure awareness. Because other than that, there were no other things. Like that, when even the darkness, that andar, that was not visible. What remained is just only that Jyotish Swarupa Prakasha, like that thing where the entire Vishwa, that is diminished over there, like that things, that Turiya, all the Vishayas, all the outgoing tendencies and the Chitta is completely dissolved into that thing, where you are the Bhana, that awareness of the world is not there, it is completely not there. And you remain into that Samyak Bodha, Shuddha, Chinmaya, Nirveshaya, that standing, that awareness only is what remains into that Vishwa, that thing which is Swayam Prakasha, Surya, Swayam Prakashman. It's like that sun is self-aware about its self-luminous, that so Prakasha Vimarsha, that is what is called Swayam. You are aware about your own Prakasha. That sthiti I have experienced, and that was nothing but the Turiya Avastha. Like this, the Swapna Jagrut and Sushupta Avastha, this Turiya Avastha was there as Antarbhut. And in this Turiya Avastha, this Jaga, this outer world, it wasn't there. Yeah, not there. It was there also, and it was not. Despite of it was there outside, yet for me it was not there. That avastha. It is there, also not there. It is Sat and Asat. It is Vyakta and Avatta. Means nothing, something which is this Dvandva. This is beyond this Dvandva. That Turiya avastha was there. That was the ultimate truth. That was the Antim Satya, in which I experienced that peace, that Nitya, Shanta, the eternal peace, that Aja. Remain in that state, that experience, that anubhava is, that bodha is called as Sadha Turiyata. You will remain into that Turiya avastha always. Such an amazing knowledge, such an amazing knowledge. Where we'll get this? Just only one can experience. When Gurudev conducts the meditation, we experience certain experiences of this type. Never, it was not explained, never explained in theory or in words like this. So amazing. We'll continue to unfold this knowledge. For now, I would like to just take a pause here. Wants to hand over this session to you, all of you. If you have any question, you are welcome to ask and discuss that. If you would like to express yourself, you are welcome to do that also. The unmute option is already available to you. Over to you all. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. So it was really very beautiful, and would really love to try it also, that breathing in and breathing out and leaving your body and going around. So it will be amazing if you try it out, really. At least I would love to. Yeah. So that's it. And everything is so paripurna with Brahman. That is nothing there actually. No waking state, no dreaming state, no, deep sleep. There is nothing. No Turiya. It's just one consciousness which is going on. And even I tell you, just yesterday I heard it, just feel like sharing it, that even everything is there all this is on the actually mind level, you know, what we are talking, we are hearing and all, it's all on the mind level. Once you go beyond that, again, there's nothing. So even all these stages and all, what we are hearing is all mind level. So it's amazing, but still to go beyond the mind, it is, you know, जैसे कांटे को निकालने के लिए कांटा ही चाहिए, then you throw it off, both of them. So it is like that ignorance is there, then you get the knowledge, and then you go beyond that. It's so beautiful, wonderful, Someshwarji, that you're taking us ahead. Grateful to you, in gratitude, and it's lovely, amazing, amazing knowledge. Really, if anybody tries and puts them in their life, it's going to be a turn. That's what it is. Full of luminous light, awareness, paripurna. That is what it is called. The whole, you know, that is that consciousness, that Brahman, that I am, thou that art. That is what we have to experience. Thank you. Lovely it was. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev Sangeeta. We are already experiencing that, isn't that true? So we experience that when we are around the master, when we are around the Sangati, Sadhu Sangati, the enlightened souls like you all are there. So we experience that. It all happens as an experience, we do experience. Coming back to the practices, this Antar Kumbhak, Bahir Kumbhak, we all do it every day. 3-stage pranayama, we are all doing it. So practices are already going on. Sitting and taking along with your chitta and your prana and traveling. So when we sit with the meditation along with Gurudev takes our chitta everywhere. So that also we experience. But taking it to that level of thing, it is just a word of caution. As we are there on the platform here, we need to be really aware. So it's not advisable to do this practice on your own alone, because if you बोलते हैं ना कि there is a saying that if you do not know that Brahmastra to take it back, you are not supposed to even fire it. All the shastras that you fire, you should have a power of taking it back. Also, if on your will, it will go, and if you want, it should come back to you. Should have. If you do not have that, then don't fire it. That is how the shastras have explained it. So if it happens like that, if you're practicing it, and then probably inside that practice, you succeed, and we do not know yet to come back, how to come back yet. So if you happen to come back, your body will appear as if you are died to other people. And then if you travel and you know this, how this Avidya is there, right? How it can actually get you stuck. And suppose you go like this, and then for you, probably it will just flow, the time will flow just like that, because you'll be in different space altogether. And that point of time, you are yet outside your body, and somebody will think, yeah, you are died, and they will just all the normal routine that will take. So it is really not advised to do it something of this sort on your own, when you're alone, without notifying anybody, or without having a master, enlightened master around us. But Bhakti ka Antar Kumbhak, Bahir Kumbhak, distance pranayama, anyway that we are anyway doing it. So let us keep our practices to that what is being told by master to us. That is just a word of caution that I wanted to make everyone aware here. But this is such a beautiful insight, the way Sangeeta ji expressed here. है ना, कहाँ मिलेगा यार ये ज्ञान? So big. And Guru की कृपा कितनी है ना, that कृतज्ञता, he has given this as our own experience. Through all the techniques and tools, he has made us experience some of the things of this. So amazing. This is really, really, really amazing. So amazing. Really feeling grateful to the master, and even thanks to all people who are all there. They come together, we discuss this. So many it unfolds the knowledge, right? And it's worth it. Our time worth it. It's really amazing. Thank you so much for expressing that, Sangeeta ji. It was really amazing. किसी और भी अपने आप को व्यक्त करना है, तब जरूर you are welcome to express yourself. Anybody else would like to express or have any questions? Not able to unmute? Oh, is it? Unmute option is available to everybody. I never disabled it today. Anyway, let me just unmute you. You will be able to unmute yourself. Are you able to unmute yourself now? Just try out anyone. Jaideep, Remaji, Sangeeta ji is
I can do.
okay. I'll make them co-host. Let's try it out. Now see. Can you? I have made you co-host now. Everybody is a co-host here. Still not able to. There is some other technical problem. Maybe you can type your question. That's okay. Or you're sharing whatever. See, all of you are co-hosts now. And oh, this has gone into the cloud. Why?
It's gone into the cloud server.
Let me just stop it. Yeah. Yeah, the recording is already paused, so that's fine.